Hey everyone, this is Gary, the Renegade Dream Builder, and I thought today I'd take a few minutes and talk about the frog in the water theory. Now, some of you may have heard of this already, but for those who haven't, it's an important story to carry around with you, and it's a simple story to carry around with you. And it helps us define the economic stress that we are under every day, and how the marketers and the corporations in the world are using this simple little strategy against us every day to create huge profits and put their financial burdens on us. And this is how it works. Did you know that if you take a frog and put it in a pan of really hot water, it will jump out? No surprise, right? You would expect that frog to jump out of there. But if you take that same frog and you put a pot of water on the stove and it has nice cool water in it, and you put that frog in that water, it will stay there because it's cool, it's pleasurable, and he has no reason to leave. Now this is where it gets interesting. If you take the burner and turn it up on a nice slow heat, that water temperature will gradually get hotter and hotter and hotter, and that frog will not move. And it will actually stay there at a slow rising heat till it boils to death. Well, you may be saying, well, how is that relevant to me and my economic future? Their car is just like that pot of water. Well, people after a while start jumping out of their cars and they find alternative things to do. Those alternatives might be riding a bicycle or walking or carpooling or taking the bus or the train. And what happens is every time that we do that as a collective, as a mass, gas sales go down. And it never goes to the original price that it started at. For instance, let's say that gas was $3 a gallon. There was a day when it used to be $3 a gallon. And gas went up, let's say it went up 10 cents. So it went from 3 to 3.10. But when they take it down, it's always 2 or 3 cents more than what it was when it started. So if it was at 3 and it went to 3.10, they might take it down to 3.02, 3.03. And they wait for everybody to get used to that economic pressure. You adjust your life financially in other areas of your life so that you can afford that $3.02 or 3. And gasoline sales start to go back up again. All of a sudden, the prices start climbing. And people start moaning a little bit and start bitching a little bit, and then they start complaining, and then they get horrified and they jump back out of their cars and they're back on the trains and the buses and the bicycles and walking and carpooling. And the gasoline sales start to fall, so they back it back down. And instead of being 3.02 or 3.03, it's now 3.05, 3.06. And everybody gets complacent. They adjust their financial situation so that they can afford that gas. And then all of a sudden, sales start going back up. As soon as they start going back up, the prices start going up. And they've been playing this game with us for many, many years. Now imagine going to the mall, or the bank, or the supermarket. It's those little fractional increases that are happening all around us that will end up boiling us in our own financial future. So remember this story. This story is very powerful. It's simple to remember, the frog in the water theory, and realize it's being played against you every day. It's nickel and diming you to financial death. And we see it happening all over the world right now. So how do you defend yourself against it? First thing is you have to realize it's happening and remind yourself of that story. Make clear, conscious decisions about your future and what you're willing to do. Educate yourself about the banking system. Did you know that the word mortgage comes from the word mortgare, and it literally translates in the banking world an agreement until death? Next week I'm going to be covering Rule 72. And for those who are not familiar with it, you can actually look it up. Just Google it, Rule 72. And you'd be amazed at what you will find. But I tell you this, once you understand how it works, like I explain it next week, you will never see the banking system in the same way again. These guys are dangerous, and they're wielding weapons of economic destruction, and the target they're after is on your back. And if you do not educate yourself to find out what they're doing and how they're doing it, you don't stand a chance. So this is Gary, the Renegade Dream Builder, and I will see you next week on Dream Builder Nation.